How Zygarde single-handedly saved all of Pokemon. Okay, maybe not all of it, but let me explain.
Hello, my name is Pokey, and if you haven't seen episode 1 of the Pokemon Lore series, this is episode 2. You don't have to, but I recommend you watch it after watching this video. So without further ado, let me explain how Zygarde saved all of Pokemon.
Before I dive deep into this question, I first have to tell you guys about canonicity in Pokemon. Now, canonicity is important in any type of piece of media because it allows us to figure out what is canon and what's not, and it also allows us to factually correct our evidence and not filling it with a bunch of filler and non-canon information. Now, in Pokemon, canon is a lot more interesting than you think because everything in Pokemon by technicality is canon, except it's not canon to each other. Let me explain. So the anime, manga, and games are prime examples of this. All three of the pieces of media of Pokemon that I just mentioned are all canon, just not canon to each other. What I mean is they're all separate timelines. For example, the manga doesn't have Ash, the games also don't have Ash, but in the anime, Ash clearly exists in the anime. Simple as that. So now to answer that question, yes, everything is canon in Pokemon, but they're just separate timelines and universes. Now with the movies, it's a lot different. Most Pokemon movies are just that, non-canon filler, and that's how you should take them, because most movies do not follow the continuity of the anime associating with them. For example, most X and Y movies are all non-canon, which is to say all of them, because they don't follow the continuity of the actual XY series. But there are movies like the Mewtwo movie that blatantly shown when it's taking place and where it's taking place. But now that we talked about canon in Pokemon, we must now talk about Ultra Space and how that's going to relate with the dying question that you guys clicked this video for. How did Zygarde save all of Pokemon? Now, if you guys don't know what Ultra Space is, let me explain it to you in less than a minute. So Ultra Space is an open space with countless wormholes in it, each wormhole having its own universe. This is backed up by many things like the Ultra Ruined Timeline and the Ruined Timeline in the anime. They're completely different from each other. They're parallel universes and also just different universes. Now, if anything couldn't go wrong in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, there was a certain something or someone that wanted to destroy all of Ultra Space, that being Ultra Necrozma. In the manga, it's explained even more thoroughly that Ultra Necrozma wanted to absorb all of the light in Ultra Space, basically destroying all of it as vengeance to the Ultra Recon Squad for being used as a Duracell battery. I'm not joking. Now, the protagonists of the Sun and Moon manga are named Sun and Moon, so just keep that in mind. Sun and Moon are then enlightened by the Ultra Recon Squad, as well as Rotom, about how dire this situation is, and likely you guys do too. If Ultra Necrozma did indeed absorb all of Ultra Space, that is an infinite amount of universes gone to hell. The Ultra Space dimension, which houses an infinite amount of universes, would just be gone because of Ultra Necrozma. Now you guys are probably confused right now. Why did I say infinite? I just said that there are countless wormholes in the Ultra Space dimension, not infinite. Well, my friends, when you take enough science and math classes in high school or even in middle school, you can find out that yes, countless can mean infinite with proper context. Now normally under normal circumstances, countless wouldn't mean infinite. But if you had context to prove that countless can mean infinite, then yes, it works. Countless can mean infinite. Now, in most pieces of media, it's kind of hard to pinpoint whether or not countless can mean infinite within that universe. In Pokemon, it's a lot more simple and a lot more easy to find out. Now, in this particular situation, to prove countless can mean infinite in Pokemon is tied to the Ultra Space dimension. Now, all we would have to do here is prove that there is infinite space and infinite time in Pokemon, because like you guys know, Ultra Space is just that, an open space. So all we would have to prove is space infinite in Pokemon, and if it is, that would mean that there would be an infinite amount of wormholes because Ultra Space would be infinite in size, basically giving birth to an infinite amount of wormholes. So how do we prove that there's infinite space in Pokemon? Simple. This guy, Palkia. Okay, but we won't need just his help, we'll need the actual fact checker's help, Junichi Masuda. Because Junichi Masuda, the guy who creates these games and executes them, is the person that confirmed that there is infinite time and infinite space in the Pokemon franchise. This is told to us by Junichi Masuda in the interview for the Nintendo Power magazine, and this took place before Platinum was about to release. And this is what he says, and I quote, "If the substance becomes too large, the balance of the spirit collapses. I wanted Palkia and Dialga to become counterparts for a sense of balance. Infinite time and infinite space, that to me is the ultimate." So there you have it. Unless you want to argue with Junichi Masuda, the GOAT, then I suggest that you just, sit down and enjoy the rest of the video. So now that we know that there are an infinite amount of universes in the Ultra Space dimension, how does this all correlate and come back to Zygarde? Well, we know that Ultra Necrozma was going to threaten all of Ultra Space by literally consuming all of it and stealing it of its light. So now that we know that much, who was the person to stop Ultra Necrozma? Because it wasn't just the protagonist, Sun and Moon, it was none other than the defender of the ecosystem himself, Zygarde 100%. Now this fight was pretty epic. Zygarde did get his butt handed to him for the first half of the fight, but then he came back swinging for more and tackled Ultra Necrozma down to the ground. And although Lunala and Solgaleo helped him finish him off, they kind of didn't do anything at all because they got pummeled to the ground and basically shunned for the rest of the fight. And then Zygarde finished him off with Core Enforcer, and Ultra Necrozma died that day. And that is how Zygarde single-handedly saved all of Pokemon, by saving an infinite amount of parallel universes. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. This took me a while to make, and I just love the support from you guys, and I can't wait to make more lore videos just like this one. In any case, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.